Hey everyone. So, someone just asked a challenging question, and that was if you were going to die tomorrow, what message would you want to leave today? And I want to share a story about something that happened at Publix a few weeks ago. That's a supermarket here in the USA. I like Publix. Anyway, there were these teenage girls in the section where there was fruits and stuff like that. And they were all kind of huddled around when I walked in. They were huddled around and they looked a little bit uncomfortable. And I went up to kind of glance and see what happened. And someone had dropped a plastic box of watermelon, and there was watermelon, like chopped up watermelon. There was watermelon like spilled on the floor, and they were just so uncomfortable and so upset. And I felt so bad for them. So I went up to them and I was like, "What's going on?" And they're like, they looked shamed. They looked like they were just going to be punished or reprimanded somehow. And oh my God, my heart just went out to them, and I looked at them and I said, "Oh my gosh, you don't have to worry about this. Like, the people at Publix are here to help clean that up. That's why they work here. Don't worry. Go." I said, "Go, get the lady from the tell the lady at the cashiers over there at the help desk." And they froze. They just like froze. And so I was like, "Okay, just hang on." And freezing is a trauma response. Like, this is important language, right? Like, we need to learn how to understand what trauma looks like. These were not mean little girls, right? They were like in their teens, little girls. But anyway, so I saw somebody who worked at Publix, wearing a uniform, and so she was walking by, and I said, "Ma'am, can you come over here?" And the girls were like all squirmy. I said, can we ask you to clean that up? Like, is that okay if you clean that up? Is that okay to ask you to do that?" And she was like, "Oh my gosh, yes." And I said, "Did the girls do anything wrong? Would they get in trouble for having spilled this?" And she was like, "No, absolutely not." And so I said, "Well, thank you for helping." And the girls looked at me and they were like, "We just got our nails done." And I was like, "You shouldn't be touching a watermelon on the floor with your beautiful nails." And I remember one of the girls just looking at me like hungry for what I was giving her. And my heart went out. And then I went out for lunch with a friend, and we were in this restaurant, and the food was really good. And the waitresses were, again, like, they weren't teenagers, maybe they were in their early 20s. And they were giving us like okay service. Like, they were slow to respond, but they weren't mean or anything. They weren't like bad attitude or anything. They were just like delayed emotional response. And that's also a sign to me that someone's in a trauma response, whether they know it or not. And I was like, "Oh my gosh." And so we left the restaurant, and well, one of the other things that happened was my friend asked the girls, because she's learned from me to treat people like even at Walmart. I've told you I like hold a microphone and praise people in Walmart who are working there. I'm the customer, right? I'm a customer. But these are people on the other end. It's like, whose job is customer service? Well, when you know that a cashier has been sitting there kind of getting slam dunked by people throughout the day who are upset and traumatized themselves, and they're on the front lines. So I praise them. It takes me nothing. It takes me nothing to be able to do that. So she said to this one girl when we were paying, when we were in checkout at the restaurant, and she said, "Oh, we were asking about this other lady who works there." And she's like, "Oh yeah, her name is blah, blah, blah." She goes, "Well, what's her last name?" My friend said to her, the girl who works there, "What's her last name?" And she's like, "I don't know. They've been working together for a long time." And so we're driving home, and my friend says to me, "Well, what do you make of that?" Because she knows I'm kind of a little sociologist in that way. Like, I really care about understanding the culture and why people are behaving the way they're behaving. And one of the things I like about having, going nice places and spending money is that you get really good service generally when you spend good money on things. And I really like good service. I like it when people can anticipate my needs. I like it when, like, I'll brag about a really good restaurant. It's in Rome, Georgia, and it's Blossom Hill and Aventine, and they're the same company. And Blossom Hill barbecue, they have like really, really good barbecue. And I was sitting there for a few hours with somebody the other day, and this waitress came up and gave us each a cup of water, because she's like, "You guys must be thirsty. You've been sitting here talking for a while." And I'm like, "Oh my God." Like, I felt like I was at the Ritz, and it wasn't that even expensive a restaurant. It was just really high quality of an experience. So back to this other thing. So my friend asked me, what do you make of all this? And I said, these are people who don't feel full on the inside. And so they don't even know what they're missing. And if they don't know what so if I were to be managing this particular restaurant, they don't need a better manager in terms of telling them the appropriate thing to do. The girls were doing the appropriate things to do. They need some mama love. So I'm talking about leadership, and I'm talking about being a customer yourself. And when you fill people's mama buckets enough, then that overflow goes out. And then that's what really excellent customer service looks like. So I'm talking about leadership training, mother love style. This is not hard to understand. If you're coming from a place of feeling empty on the inside, you know what it's like when someone looks at you and goes, I see you. Let me be there for you. And if you don't know what it's like to give at that level, well, you're missing out. You're missing out big time. And so if I were, hopefully I'll still be here tomorrow, but if I were going to be here tomorrow, if I was not going to be here tomorrow, that's what I'd want you to remember. And what's interesting is that that's the book I wrote this year. It's called Mother Love, How to Fill Your Inner Mama Bucket, how to make sure your inner mama bucket's full, because when it's full, then you can give more fully to others. And guess what happens when you do that? You become more open to taking risks. You're responding to life less from trauma and more from joy. The love in you gets to be seen and felt, and you get to receive other people that way as well and see the love in them. I mean, I almost sound like I'm like, like a preacher right now, like I'm running a church or something. I'm not. We should all be like speaking from this place, from our hearts. And that's what makes our world a better place. And if the leaders like in the restaurants and things like that aren't giving that to their people, well then heck, it's up to us as customers. We're all human, and we can all mother love each other no matter where we are. I see Deja Lee has joined this conversation. Thank you, Deja Lee. It's good to see you here. You are definitely someone who is a leader in filling your mama bucket and helping other people fill theirs too. I appreciate y'all for listening. And I'll end with this one thing. I really, really feel strongly about teenage girls these days. I know how much they're struggling. For some reason, I really resonate with them. And if there's anything I can do to support you if you're a teenage girl, let me know. If you have any questions or if there's something on your mind, let me know, and I'll do more videos like specifically aiming at you and talking to you, because if your mama love buckets are full, then we're going to have a better world. So thank you everybody for listening. Bye for now. How do I close this?